the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
New Chicago Bears head coach Ben Johnson was only hired less than a week ago, but he's already making some major upgrades to the Chicago Bears coaching staff. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So, Bears fans, we have some major news out of Hallis Hall in regards to Ben Johnson putting together his new coaching staff here in Chicago, and he is making some major upgrades to the Chicago Bears coaching staff. To be quite honest with you, it's night and day, and this is really important for any first-time head coach, and it just seems that Ben Johnson understands that he needs to have an A-plus coaching staff. Of course, he is the main attraction. He is the guy that needs to take the Bears to the next level with his offensive play calling and his leadership and all that good stuff. But he is off to a really good start putting together his coaching staff here in Chicago. And he's already has some really impressive hires. So on today's episode of Keek on the Mic, let's go ahead and break down these staff hires for Ben Johnson. Starting with Antoine Randall L. He is the new assistant head coach and wide receiver coach for the Chicago Bears. This is one of the guys that he's poached over from the Detroit Lions. And what I find quite funny is that Ben Johnson made it very clear. He's like, hey, I am not going to raid Dan Campbell's staff over there in Detroit. The first two hires that he made to come join him in Chicago were from the Detroit Lions, so he definitely didn't keep his word on that. But Antoine Randall L is an outstanding coach. I know Detroit Lions fans and Detroit Lions podcasters are really upset. I think they're happy that they were able to keep Hank Fraley over there in Detroit, but they were really upset about Antoine Randall L, and rightfully so. He's a really, really good football coach, Bears fans. L spent the last 4 seasons with the Detroit Lions as the wide receivers coach, and he is the one of the best wide receivers coaches in the National Football League. He has played an instrumental part of really developing guys like Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, some of the best receivers in the game right now, if you want to be quite honest, and really keeping that offense moving. You see the creativity and what the receivers are asked to do over there in Detroit. He has played a huge factor in the development of those guys. He has prior experience as well with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as an offensive assistant dating back from 2019 to 2020. He was also drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in round 2 of the 2002 NFL draft, where he won a Super Bowl with the Steelers in 2005. So he has prior experience as a player. And once again, just a really good coach, really good development, really, really good leader. He has a lot of respect around the league, not only from other coaches, but other players as well. And of course, Detroit players and coaches over there in Detroit will tell you how good of a coach this guy is. To me, he has the possibility to really move up the ranks, in the NFL coaching tree, and maybe someday be an NFL head coach himself. I think this is a guy that Ben Johnson trusts from his time in Detroit. And this is a really huge ad for the Chicago Bears as he comes over to the Bears coaching staff, trying to develop guys like Rome Odunze and to maybe even take DJ Moore and even guys like Tyler Scott to the next level. I really love this hire by Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears. Now moving on to JT Barrett. He's going to be the new quarterbacks coach for the Chicago Bears under Ben Johnson's staff. He's the former Ohio State star. And he has served as the assistant QB coach the last 2 seasons for Dan Campbell's staff in Detroit. He's still a very young coach. I think this is going to be his 3rd year of coaching. But obviously, Ben Johnson trusts a guy like JT Barrett, and I think this is all about, trying to build a chemistry with Caleb Williams. He's still only 30 years old, so he can really connect with Caleb Williams on a different level. I think this is going to be huge for Caleb Williams and his development as a quarterback. Obviously, it didn't really work out for JT Barrett as a player in the National Football League, but dating back to his Ohio State days, he was a star with the Buckeyes. So I think there's going to be some level level of respect there from Caleb Williams, and JT Barrett's going to come in and be responsible for really developing Caleb Williams the right way. And I feel like having a young voice in there like JT Barrett, I think him and Caleb Williams are going to connect on a different level. So I know exactly what Ben Johnson is thinking here by bringing JT Barrett over from the Detroit Lions with the Chicago Bears. And this is another guy that a lot of Detroit Lions fans and podcasters were really bummed in losing. They really liked his potential as a coach in the National Football League, had a lot of respect with the Detroit Lions, and had the possibility to move up within that Detroit Lions organization. But Ben Johnson acted fast and poached not only Antoine Randall L, but JT Barrett from the Detroit Lions. Now moving on to my favorite hire so far on Ben Johnson's coaching staff, and that is Al Harris, previously of the Dallas Cowboys. He is going to be our new defensive backs and passing game coordinator. He is the Green Bay Packer legend, and he joins the Bears from the Dallas Cowboys, where he has been the defensive backs coach and assistant head coach since 2020. Once again, there's a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans that were really upset about losing Al Harris. There was even a lot of fans talking about Dallas Cowboys fans thinking that before they promoted their OC, that Al Harris should have got a look to be the new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. That's how much respect he had within that organization. But his contract was aligned with Mike McCarthy, and he opted to, become a free agent in the head coaching in the coaching market, and join Ben Johnson's staff here in Chicago. And this is a major get for Ben Johnson and his coaching staff. Before Dallas, Harris also had stops with the Miami Dolphins, Kansas City Chiefs, and a Florida Atlantic at the college level. Harris is once again a great hire for Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears. Not only was he a great player, but he is smart, tough, physical, and also a great leader. And he shows all those qualities as a head coach. And once again, he's a guy that has played at a high level in the National Football League, and he has taken that experience of his playing days and has really translated that into becoming a really good coach, a really good teacher, a really good leader, and just really developing some of the best young corners in the National Football League. He has played an instrumental role in developing guys like Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland with the Dallas Cowboys. So hopefully this is a good hire, and developing guys like Tyreek Stevenson, getting him on the right track. Of course, this is going to be huge for guys like Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, and Jaquan Brisker as well. So this is a major get for the Chicago Bears football team, and a major get for the secondary room, the defensive backs on the Chicago Bears as well. So a couple other names that we need to keep a close eye on. Obviously, Ben Johnson still has a long way to go and adding to his coaching staff. But so far, so good. I think the one thing I really like what Ben Johnson is doing is he's adding guys with prior playing experience, guys that have played in the National Football League, guys that have had probably success at the college level as well, guys that have success just playing the game of football, and they have become good coaches and good leaders, guys that could come in and really connect with these young guys on a different level. But he still has a long way to go. Still have to fill out the offensive coordinator role. Got to fill out the defensive coordinator role as well. The only update that we have on Ben Johnson finding his next defensive coordinator, obviously Adam Schefter said right away when Ben Johnson was hired as the new head coach of the Chicago Bears, is that the early favorite was ex-New Orleans Saints head coach Dennis Allen, and that would be an excellent home run hire for Ben Johnson. I think he is still the front runner, but they're still doing their due diligence and interviewing other guys. They have a scheduled interview with Rams defensive pass game coordinator and assistant head coach Aubrey Pleasant. Has some experience there with Ben Johnson, a relationship there. He would be a pretty good coach. And also have an interview set up with Vikings defensive pass game coordinator Durante Jones as well. So I think the Bears are going to do their due diligence and interviewing a couple of guys. But I think at the end of the day, their main goal is still Dennis Allen, and I really love the idea of Dennis Allen just for the simple fact that he has prior experience as a head coach. He has done it 2 times and has failed 2 times, but he's an outstanding defensive coordinator, can really teach Ben Johnson the right and from wrongs and really help guide Ben Johnson as a first-time head coach. And here's the good thing, is that if we do get Dennis Allen, he's a really good defensive coordinator. He's not going to have any interest going to be a head coach again because he has failed 2 times as a head coach. So he can be a long-standing defensive coordinator here in Chicago. So Dennis Allen, to me, is still the front runner. I hope Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears can get that done. In regards to the offensive coordinator position for the Chicago Bears under Ben Johnson's staff, the Bears have actually just completed an interview with Titans quarterback coach Bo Hardegree for the OC position. Hardegree worked with Ben Johnson from 2016 to 2018 with the Miami Dolphins. Hardegree has some solid experience developing some quarterbacks, worked with Mac Jones in 2021 in his rookie season, had him playing at a high level, and obviously had Aiden O'Connell just back in 2023 playing at a high level. You could take that for what it's worth. And also, this would be a great asset for Caleb Williams. Bo Hardegree also has shown a lot of experience of being, really, really creative back when he was calling plays as well. And you have to understand that the OC role here doesn't really mean much because he's not actually going to be calling the plays. I think this is just another basically quarterbacks coach, a guy that can come in and help develop Caleb Williams, because that's what Ben Johnson is concerned about the most, is taking Caleb Williams to the next level. So you already have JT Barrett, right, coming in and really helping, develop Caleb Williams the right way. Of course, you have Ben Johnson, the head coach, developing Caleb Williams the right way. And then you have a guy like Bo Hardegree that has experience, developing different types of quarterbacks. Aiden O'Connell, Mac Jones, came over to the Las Vegas Raiders and had Derek Carr playing at a Pro Bowl level as well. So he's worked with different types of quarterbacks. So I think this would be just another creative mind to challenge Caleb Williams, to challenge even Ben Johnson as well, to take Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears offense to the next level. So we'll see if this is the guy that lands the OC job. They're probably going to do their due diligence and interview a couple more people. But I really like the idea of Bo Hardegree coming over and being the OC of the Chicago Bears. And another major upgrade that could possibly be in the works for the Chicago Bears is a offensive line coach, and that is Dan Rochar. He's a 64-year-old that has coached in various offensive positions in college and NFL, dating back to 1986. He is currently the O-line coach for Tulane at the college level, but had a long stint in the NFL with the Saints from 2013 to 2022, where he served as the running backs coach, tight end coach, O-line coach, and run game coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. So this guy has massive experience, and this guy would be a massive upgrade over a guy like Chris Morgan. You talk about having eye for talent. You talk about development. You talk about the experience. You talk about the respect and leadership that he commands as well. And some of the guys over his stint with the New Orleans Saints that he has developed are really a notable list of studs. Guys like Doug Free, Andres Pete, Teron Armstead, Larry Warford, Ryan Ramczyk, Eric McCoy, and Cesar Ruiz are some solid studs for the New Orleans Saints, and that is basically due to Dan Rochar being able to develop these guys and getting guys to play at a high level. He has an eye for talent. Ben Johnson made it very clear that he wants to really focus on revamping his offensive line, defensive line, and even the running back position. But I think finding the right coach to develop these guys that you already have, guys like Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright, that's what Dan Rochar has been during his stint in the NFL and even college level, coaching the offensive line, is developing guys the right way to get them to play at a high level. So this hire can be huge, not only for eyeing talent at the college level or free agency, but also developing the talent that you already have in your locker room. So this would be a massive, massive upgrade and a massive get for Ben Johnson. So hopefully they can, poach him away from the college level. I think that's the only concern right now if he actually wants to come back to the NFL. But if they're able to land this guy as their O-line coach, it would be a massive get for Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears. So once again, Bears fans, so far so good. To me, it's all home run hires for Ben Johnson. I feel like it's night and day. These guys are going to come in and be true leaders, vocal leaders, develop these guys the right way. Of course, Ben Johnson, once again, is the main attraction for the Chicago Bears. He is the head coach, and he is brought here to take this football team to the next level. But it's very important to surround yourself with good coaches as well. And that's exactly what Ben Johnson is doing. And still has a long way to go. But Bears fans, before I let you guys go, let me ask you guys this. What is your favorite hire so far, or maybe future hire for Ben Johnson as he assembles his coaching staff? Right now, for me, it definitely has to be Al Harris, but let me know down below in the comment section how you're feeling about all these hires under Ben Johnson's coaching staff. But other than that, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Kick on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, be back for our all new Bears podcast right here on Kick on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic.